So apparently I'm low on battery on my recorder, which is bad. So probably the audio won't keep up for a very long time. But this is more like a test run anyways. Today is a beautiful day here outside of Uppsala in Sweden, and this is an idea I've been thinking about, that I think it's just fun to be out walking and recording thoughts and whatnot. And yeah, why not combine it with walking in some beautiful places with Halde here. So apparently he's gonna poop, but so we're now outside of something, a forest area called Lunsen in Sweden here, and it's Sunday afternoon, and as we're beginning to come closer to summer, the sun is staying up for way longer, so now soon it's going to be possible to go out here in late evenings and still, you know, not be in total darkness. So basically today is like the first try when a forest walk like this, and talking to see if, partly see if my audio works well, and both see the ambient audio and my speech, how it works. I have a lot of things I would like to talk about, but I think for today I won't be talking that much. More like enjoying the views and the nice weather. So it's actually been quite we almost got spring here, and then suddenly we got another week with almost freezing temperatures and rain and snow and really awful. Well, I mean, compared to like 15 plus and sun, kind of like what it is now, it's a big difference. So it's actually the place where, let's see, like a month or so ago, I went and did a canicross virtual race here with Halde, and it was a 3K run. I started over there, came back here and went into the forest area over there, and it was a really early morning, really tired, and he was very energetic in the beginning of the run, but then he also needed to poop in the middle of the run, so he was slowing down and looking for places to poop, and then immediately sped up again after. But it was a nice day. But then we've had some not really real health issues, but not like disturbances, let's say. So he had to remove a little like a skin tag on his leg, which required surgery. So it wasn't, and we went and tested it. It wasn't anything bad, but then he had to still recover his wound on his leg. So we haven't been running really, just a little bit lately, and he's he's building up energy, so I'm gonna find some new ways for him to let off some steam. So right now, yeah, I mean, he behaves well, but yeah, he has excess energy. So that's a really nice day today. I was just at something that really bothered. Oh, and yeah, he's also a little bit itchy around his ears. Hey, Halde. Yep. And we actually don't know exactly why. I went to the vet a few days ago and checked up on his ears, but their opinion is that it looks pretty good. He's had some issues there before, but now they are actually looking like there's no problem with an ear infection or something like that. But there's something a little bit bothering him. I think it might be actually not inside there, it might be just dry skin or something, so I'm gonna try and Halle! Kom hit! Kom hit, kom hit! Try to give him some extra oil or something like that as a additive to his food, so maybe it will help his skin not be so dry, because it's not like he has rashes and stuff like that. It's more just a bit dry. I think he gets a little bit itchy because of it. Yeah, we just came from the store. I was just checking out some random outdoors items and clothes. It's not really, I don't really need much new clothes, but it's always fun to, I'm like a little bit nerdy when it comes to outdoors gear, so I don't know, it's just fun to go actually look at stuff in the store and try it out and stuff like that. But yeah, so we're in Sweden, right? So here it's actually, stores are open, restaurants are open, everything like that, but I don't know, there's not, yeah, there's actually, I've been talking to a friend about this whole mask thing lately, and because they're in the US, and except for a few states, it's pretty all out masks there from what I gather, and it's just fun to compare just compare life there to here. I saw some what do you call it? Saw a news show where I think it was President Biden visited some kids in a school, and they were, I don't know, man, it's just so weird to me. Little kids with like masks, face shields, they had like plexiglass between their desks, all this kind of stuff. It's just such a contrast, because I don't have kids, but I'm out walking him every day, and we usually walk past like 2 or 3 schools, or like one kindergarten and daycare, and like 2 schools, and there's just always kids around playing outside, or you know, you can see them come and go, and like almost see into the classrooms from where we walk by outside, and like, and we've been doing this entire year, right? We're always out walking several times a day, and yeah, there's just no kids have masks in Sweden, you know, in school. It's just, I bet, I mean, I'm sure you can find some somewhere, but in general there's just no masking of kids in schools, and no like weird, I don't know, booths they're sitting in. It's just, yeah, it's very odd to see, and personally I have a bit of concern, because I think it might be really destructive to kids growing up right now in this environment, and normalizing that kind of environment for them, and I can't really see the logic behind it. I mean, I guess there isn't the logic behind it, it's more like a fear-based response, I suppose. And it's sad to see, because it doesn't seem like, if you compare as a control group what's happening here, and I know in some other places in the world, it just doesn't seem necessary to risk the mental health of kids this way, you know. I don't see why you would risk that, just to, I mean, even if it, I don't know if it helps overall for virus spread or something like that. But even if it did help, you have to weigh that and compare that to you know, just the impact on mental health of children. And I'm kind of worried, because once you get people into a pattern, or you know, pattern of living, or like a standard, it's not so easy to get out of. I think a lot of people, overestimate the ability of people and to just change back to some kind of normal, you know. Even if you have a cure, you have you know, whatever drugs you might have, or cure, or low spread of viruses, or it's just not possible to just tell that to people and make them you know, forget all these patterns they've learned now, and the fear they have. It just doesn't go away once you know, switch a parameter back or open up. You're like, maybe you say, oh, now we open up stores, and now we open up restaurants. And even if the data would show that it's kind of like, it's pretty much safe to go out, you know, and mix with people or whatnot, people won't just be normal again. They won't, all their fear and kind of paranoia and worries just doesn't disappear instantly like I think a lot of people hope for. I don't think it works like that. Kom alle, ska vi in här. So yeah, I think a lot of people overestimate how easy it is to switch a human brain and mentality back to like having no fear and no paranoia and no, like a lot of people sadly are becoming, I think, quite depressed in several ways during this whole thing, and I think a lot of it could have been avoided. In many ways, I won't really get into all of them now, but just the main point is that it's just not that easy to go back for people. I think we're going to see that in a few years, you know, sadly. Kind of like how we're missing out on, I think, diagnosing a lot of other illnesses and health complications that we're missing out on right now. And I think in the next 5 years or so, I think you're going to see an increase in a lot of just diseases and health complications and mental health issues. And it's quite sad to me. Because, yeah, I think maybe there's not enough people that really know how it feels to be, I guess depressed is a collective term. You can be depressed in many ways and in many degrees of severity. But I think, I just don't know if people give it the importance or it deserves, kind of. Like they look at it as a, what is he smelling at? Alle, det bra med dig? Yeah. I just don't think they're giving it the importance it deserves. They compare such things like being safe from getting too close to others and all this. We're hyper focused on one virus, and it doesn't matter if that virus is dangerous. And I mean, yeah, it's dangerous. There's just, but it's one factor, it's one risk, and we can't be hyper focused on one risk. Then it's like this with everything. If you're working in risk management, you can never be all in focused on one risk. You will miss other risks. You will miss often catastrophic risks, or risks that can lead to catastrophic outcomes. So I think in this case, sadly, we're going to see that in the years to come. Halde, vart ska du? So, on a brighter note, now we're walking into this part of the forest here, and this is called Lunsen. I'll show it maybe. We usually like to go outside of just the normal, like you saw before, we're walking on a forest road path, and now a little smaller path, but it is more fun to go out on these smaller game trails. And hey pojken, hi. It's smaller game trails and in terrain. It's better for him, and it's better for me. And there's not a lot of people around here. This is like a place where a bunch of people go and ride mountain bikes usually, but they're usually keep to the bigger trails down here. And this is not really like you see, it's not really a used trail. It's more just like a game trail, I think you call it, where all the animals run. And in these forests you would so what kind of animals are in these forests? Well, besides obviously all the birds and squirrels and hares, there's a lot of hares in Sweden and also everywhere in the forest, but usually there's like, I usually see them at home in the gardens, you know. Halde, kom här. Nej tack. What he's doing right there is there's plenty of deer around here, everywhere in the forests, and even into the people's gardens, you know. They are kind of a pest sometimes. They eat tulips and other plants that people try to plant in their gardens. So, but they also poop everywhere in the forest, and we have a dog here that loves to eat deer poop. I think many dogs like it, but yeah, he really loves it. And I don't mind it so much. Halde! Kom här! Duktig. Okay. And he really likes deer poop. It's not poisonous or anything, but I'm just a little bit careful so he doesn't get a bad stomach from it. Eats too much of it, you know. Here's a beautiful place, eh? This white moss here is also everywhere. And if I'm not careful, he's gonna lie down and tumble around in it and become a forest monster. He really likes this kind of moss. Scratch his back. Hey, come. Yeah, so it's, the one part that's really bad about these forests is the smallest, one of the smallest animals. There's way too many ticks. So even if it's, I think these mossy areas are bad. Alle, höger. Höger tack. These mossy areas are, I think, a bit better. I think grass is worse. Bushes and grass is like tick heaven. And he gets ticks all the time, obviously. And it's hard on a furry dog like that to really see it. Halde, kom här. Bra. But he gets to eat tick medicine. It's basically the ticks die when they bite him. I try to, you know, look through his fur after a walk like this also, but vänta alle. Yeah, but it's impossible to catch every single tick on him, so it's good to have that kind of medication. So basically the thought is that the ticks just die when they bite him, and supposedly ticks actually need a little bit more time after they bite to really transmit whatever disease they might have. Look at him now. This is kind of the ridiculousness. yeah, so if they die right away, then supposedly they don't really transmit whatever disease they might have. Halde, let's see that, come here. And we've been fine so far for several summers with that, so obviously there's always a concern for some kind of a side effect for any medication like that. But like I usually say, there's definitely also the effects that a potential like Borrelia or other tick-borne disease might have on a dog. So, you know, pick your poison kind of. And I'm picking the, at least it's tested for quite a few years now, this drug, so we're sticking with that for now. Halde, det är blött där. So you can see here now, these areas in this forest, suddenly you get kind of like it's just like a moat almost. A trench, you know. And you always think like, how do you get through? How do you get through? And we could just walk straight here and get really, really wet, and he would jump straight through this water here. He doesn't care about getting... Halde, nej, come on! I have to get him away from drinking that because it's not horrible water, but he has a bit of a sensitive stomach, so you don't really want him drinking too much of water that's sitting out in the sun like that. Oh, there's too many bacteria and stuff in that. Gopro. Yeah, so you always think like, what is the best way to get through here? And sometimes there just doesn't seem to be a good place. Halde, come here. Now we're like, it's all around us. Let's go here. Yeah. Oh. So personally too, I'm always careful of getting ticks on me, obviously. What I do is I always wear pants in the forest like this, and when I get home I always take a shower so as to hopefully look through, you know, take a shower. Hop up, come on. Okay, hi. Oh. This is the problem with a flexi leash in the forest, but it's more help than, you know, it does way more good than bad. Oh, so gracious, Halde. Oh. You know what? I got off track from my thoughts about the current situation in the world, but I think also sometimes, yeah, it's a problem how much we think about all the issues and potential problems and stuff like that. Sadly, I guess the people who decide everything, they don't really take breaks. But for us, I know, just normal people in general, I think it's just important to think about positive things, you know, and walking in the forest here, and you can't really just, yeah, you can't hyper focus on the problems or what might happen or not, you know. You just also have to really deal with what you have and make the best of any situation, you know. So that's what I usually try to do. Once you get, I think it's easy for many people to get overwhelmed. Halde, Bryt, kom tillbaka här, nu. Kom då, Halde. Fel håll. Maybe he got some scent or something. Yeah, it's easy for people to get overwhelmed, I think, with the situation now in the world. I think people really need to get offline a little bit more and really just focus on developing something in their life, making something better, doing something for real. And really the most important thing of everything is probably to get offline and get off the internet. That's what I think. So I personally also have some plans and some ideas on what to do in the near future here during the summer and onwards, and hopefully it's going to be something exciting. So right now, I think many people can relate to that, but I've been feeling quite stagnant now for a few years, and just I guess something that can happen to a lot of people. But it's not like, it's just I have a good job, I have a good apartment, I have some good friends, not many, but a few. We don't really hang out all that much these days. Not really due to COVID particularly, but partly to that, because things aren't really open. You can't really go do things like you could before. But even more than that, Halle, kom här så går vi här. Kom. Even more than that, it's just they have their own lives, their own things happening that they're doing. So just at my age, people, I don't know, I guess people kind of drift apart a lot of the time. Not really, like I can call people, you can talk to them, but people as they grow up to be more adult, I suppose, it's just they have less time and more responsibilities in general. So I'm thinking of a kind of a drastic or a bigger change, because I don't know, I've been thinking for a long time about just doing something else, getting out of the situation I'm in, and sometimes playing it safe and trying to find the perfect alternative, or like a job I really want, or a place to live that's really great or something. It's just that it's not something that will just happen, It doesn't really happen like that. So I think sometimes you really need to make a switch to trigger things to happen in your life. So that's what I'm planning to do. I'm really considering moving up to the mountains where we have a cabin, and it might sound weird or drastic, but the thing is we have a quite nice family cabin up in Swedish mountains, and I think it might trigger me to get like into some, vänta, I got really in the wrong way here. Kom här, vi går här. Eller kan vi gå över här? Yeah, as I was saying, thinking about moving basically to an entirely different place. And it's a beautiful place, very beautiful. The thing is though, usually when I go there it's only on vacation for up to a few weeks at the most. And it's a bit weird to live there. Not weird, but quite different. Hi, Halle, kom här. For one thing, we don't have running water. We have a stream that's, well, it's almost kind of like running water, I guess, but not like on tap, It's, you have to go get it or pump it up with a hand pump. And we have kind of a makeshift toilet, but not really shower, but since we have water, you can always shower, so you're not really in that bad of a situation. But it's a very beautiful place, and hopefully I will get to do that in a few weeks or a couple of months. Maybe it's not really it's not a done deal, and I have to kind of decide how I'm gonna approach my work situation. Right now I have a job that we're working, since due to COVID restrictions and rules, we're working from home full time and have been doing that for a year. They're planning on getting back to a new office in the fall or so. So I actually don't know how long I could work with my same job from up there, but my plan is to just keep working for as long as I can, or maybe just do it from up there and see what other opportunities I might have. This is a place that's kind of like 9 to 10 hours from here drive, and not super remote, but not a place where there's a lot of people either, and really close to the mountains, which is something that I think would be a cool change just for regular life, because just what I'm doing outside of work is a lot of like this, walking in the forest, and up there's just such beautiful places and opportunities to do things in nature that I don't really have here. And it's just a great change of scenery. Oh, that's a thought. Halde! So that's a plan anyways, something to do. Let's see where I am, like 30 minutes in. If this, because my audio might just cut, and if it does cut then, Halde, kom tillbaka! Then I guess I just fade out, you know, suddenly. But I'll keep going until it does. Why not? So anyways, yeah, that's the plan. And right now on this channel there's not a lot of very interesting content. I've done some random stuff. I like to get more into photography and filming and editing, and hopefully maybe steer my career towards that too. So I think, so this kind of walk I'm doing now, I think I'm going to do that more regularly, even though it's not really anything planned or anything specific. It's more like something to keep activity up, and I'm walking in these forests all the time anyways. So it's kind of like I get an opportunity to show life here in Sweden if you're a little bit into the outdoors and just walking the forest. Because, oh, that might be interesting for people, that in Sweden we have these laws that's called every man's right. And it's basically like, it's a freedom to roam law. Look at this guy. He's happy with the stick. It basically means, these laws, that it doesn't matter if the forest belongs to the state or municipality or a private firm or person. I get off track by this guy. Come on. Everyone has a freedom to roam around in nature, in the forests and everywhere basically, no matter who owns it, whether it be the state or a private entity. So you can roam around, you can, you know, camp in a tent. I mean, I don't have the whole law in my head, you know, but it's basically like the freedom to roam around, camp. You can make a fire, you can, you know, pick mushrooms and berries, and you can't just chop down trees, but you can use some dead wood, I think, to make a fire and stuff like that. You know, under, do you say this in English? Under responsibility is what we say. Under ansvar. So basically like, do these things, but take responsibility for doing them in a decent manner, you know, and not wreck stuff, leave things in a good condition, stuff like that. That's a beautiful part of the forest here. I really like these areas with kind of open areas with a lot of moss everywhere. Vänster. Yeah, so basically it's just Halde, kom tillbaka! Basically it just creates a huge freedom for everyone here to be able to just, like I did now, basically I drove on a road out here to the edge of the forest, and you just park there and you walk straight into the forest, and there's all these trails or, you know, terrain, whatever, and no one can, you know, say that you don't have a right to do this. It's just your right under the law, and no one can say like, oh, this is my private forest or this is my land or things like that. Of course, since I'm a bit of a libertarian myself, you might think there's a contradiction there, and I guess you can say it is, but I think it has to be cultural as well, because here I don't think anyone really has an issue with it. It's more like it's so expected, right? And I think even in a libertarian society you could arrange things in this manner. So I think culture dictates this, and not really exactly what kind of government there is. In any case, it really helps, because for everyone like me, having a dog or just loving to be who loves to be in the outdoors, you can just go everywhere. Go hiking for a few days in this forest if you want to. There's some restrictions in some areas, like in some natural reserves, where there might be some sensitive species of animals or, you know, whatnot. It might be some rules about, you know, some areas that you shouldn't camp in or whatnot, but nothing that really creates any kind of obstacle for people like me or anyone that wants to enjoy nature. So it works quite well, I would say. And there's also some rules about not overstepping your bounds, basically, and going too close to people's houses. And it's also common sense, you know. No one really wants to put up a tent 10 meters outside of someone's living room or house, you know, on their lawn. So it's basically like the immediate area around houses. You shouldn't walk and you shouldn't camp, obviously. I think those are sensible rules, I guess, but just common sense, basically. I don't think I would want to camp outside of someone's house even if it was allowed. So, and you know, you gotta get along with people, so. Yeah, but I think let's walk on here and see how long we've been walking. That's a nice place, this. Yeah, so I'm gonna try to make some update videos like this. It would be kind of cool if a year from now I've been up in the mountains and done stuff that to really kind of have this to look back on my thoughts and, you know, my plans. So that's why I didn't really have much to say today, more than this is kind of like a test run, but I'm gonna upload it anyways, because I think it's just a beautiful day, and even if I'm just talking about, you know, unimportant stuff and blabbering, it's kind of cool, because it's kind of the start of things, you know. Halle, kom igen! And it's also this dog gets to go out. Yeah, duktig. Framåt! Yeah. So it's kind of the start. So I think it's week. I actually forgot which week it is now. In Sweden we count weeks by number, so it's like week 17, week 18, and so forth. And my vacation usually starts at week 27, but I'm considering heading up to the cabin and see if I can start living there for a while. And I might head up there a few weeks in advance at least. So maybe in June I'll be heading up there, hopefully. Kolla. And it's a beautiful time to be up in the mountains too, around that time. And there are almost 0 ticks, so that's a huge advantage too, to don't have to deal with ticks. and I have some plans, you know, start working on my video skills and outdoor stuff, and maybe trying things out. And I have a bunch of plans that I would outline, I think, in a more specific video. This is more like just a random beginning, I guess. Well, at least you get a nice little peek into the areas we usually walk in. And I guess this has also been one of those things that's been a huge huge thing for people during this year, is that the forests are always open in Sweden. So actually we're going the wrong way here, so we're going to turn around and go into the forest instead. But the forests are always open, so good weekend. So this whole year, what I saw, because I usually go in vilken fin! Ska slänga den då? Wow! Because I usually go in the forest anyways, right? So so this year I've met a lot more people in the forest than usual. Because it's like people realized that the outdoors existed when they couldn't go to restaurants and have parties inside and stuff. Everyone started going outside to barbecue in the woods, and you know, even close to my house there's a little wooded area where you can go and have a barbecue and stuff. Even in the like cold spring and fall weather last year, people were out there barbecuing, having like birthday parties and whatnot, which I think is kind of cool in a way. If there's one big positive about this COVID year, is that a lot of people I think found a bit of new love for the outdoors and forest, and I hope they will keep that. Actually, I've noticed that there's a lot less people out now in the forest than was during last year. People are kind of like, I guess, more calm with the whole COVID thing. Even if there are restrictions, people are kind of like, not everyone is as afraid, you know. I think in Sweden in general here, people are, since we haven't had these really crazy things happening with the government restrictions and whatnot, people are not super afraid in general. And I think that shows also now that you won't see as much people just going out to the forest for every little thing. They want to, you know, meet up with someone. It was more of that last year. Even still, I think it's a very positive thing to happen. Halle, kom nu! Kom här! Get this guy to come with me and not just want to sit still with his stick. Someday I might tell you a bit more about Halde here. If someone has actually watched this and listened and is at this part of the video, they can guess what kind of dog he is. Obviously I said he was a male, so we won't ask about that, but what kind of dog he is, and maybe how old he is. And if you've heard what his name is. I've called his name many times in this video, so it shouldn't be too hard. We do a lot of things together also, like we do some people search training, some tracking, some canicross running. We've done some bike touring too this year, but it's more of a hassle to get the bike and everything out to the forest. So actually this might be a good test for my microphone here, because the wind is blowing. I have a little jacket in front of it, so let's see if if this part really messes up audio-wise, I will know why, because now it's getting to be quite windy here. And he really has his stick still. Yeah. But see, now it's beginning to be summer again. I really love it. So hopefully in a month or two, well actually definitely in like 2 months time, I think, around there, I will be up in the mountains no matter what, because at least for vacation and a few more weeks I'm gonna go there. But hopefully it might be something else entirely, and I'm gonna yeah, I will keep posting on my plans, but I have some plans to do something a lot bigger change than just going there for vacation. And I will talk more about the place and the cabin in, I think, another video too. So we're beginning to come back to where I parked the car, and I've been just talking a lot, and the battery is about to run out, so I think I'm gonna leave it here, and for now just I'm gonna tune out, and until next time I think I'm gonna find some other cool place to take a walk. So this was walk number 1, I suppose. I wish that everyone has a great day today, because I will try to as well. Bye bye.